song tonight, today. Why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows come? And why does my heart feel lonely and long for heaven and home? For Jesus is my portion, a constant friend is He. His eyes on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. His eyes on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. So I sing because I'm happy. Yes, I sing because I'm free. Yeah, His eyes on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. So I sing because I'm happy. Yes, I sing because I'm free. Yeah, His eyes on the sparrow, and I know He watches, and I know He watches, and I know He watches me.
Thank you, Christine. Sure, I would have loved to have heard that song today. Today we're coming together not only to mourn a death, but especially to remember a life and to celebrate the life of happy Chifuntwe. And while death has claimed one of our loved ones,
leading us today for our service. We really appreciate our pastor, and thank you for attending up to our mom's funeral today, for all the mourners here today. It's a shock to us. We've been keeping strong. I've been keeping myself as strong as I can. We look strong on the outside, but we are quite fragile on the inside. The only thing I know from hearing what Pastor Paul's, reminding me, just hearing him speak today, it's like, we are weak inside, but we're only strong in spirit, really. That is the key. As the Bible has taught us from words of Jesus, don't ever think that you are super. You are not. I'm not. Jesus is the only super. hero we have.
Amen.
Now, before I talk a little bit more about my mother, one thing my mother she always taught us is that communication is very, very important. And if you have something to say to somebody, you should say it soon rather than later. Life lesson: don't go to sleep. If you've got a quarrel with someone, a friend, don't go to sleep until you make up with that person, because tomorrow you never know if you ever see them again, and you have to live with that life regret forever until we see Jesus again. Just to say one thing, I know my mother would have liked me to say this. I don't know if it means anything to any of you, but it means maybe a little bit to me. Is that my first superhero? I know Jesus is my superhero right now, because I'm older and more mature. But I just want to share with you my very first superhero in my life when I was a kid. My very first superhero, I'll just tell you a quick story. Not even a story, just something. Is that my very first superhero was my father, and he's sitting right there. Growing up, you look up to your parents, mom and dad. We spend all our time with our mom, most of our times, and so most of you did as well. But I remember, I'm just saying this because my mom would have liked me to say it, so I'll say it today. While we're all alive and my father's still here, why wait until you're all in the grave to share with you? So my very first superhero was my father. I looked up to him, and I still do. I respect him, and I respect my mother too, and I've always done that. As the Bible teaches us in the Bible, in the commandments, respect your elders and respect especially your father and mother, because they raised you and they brought you into this life. If you want to get more clarification, read those commandments and you learn from there. There's big life lessons in there, and we should all really take a second look if we haven't. And don't take them for granted. Those 10 are mighty, mighty important. And that's one very, very big lesson I've learned this time around. My mother's gone, and I will try my best not to take things for granted. All my friends and all mom's friends, I know my mom, she was a very, very kind person. I looked up to my dad as a superhero. When I needed strength, I looked up to that man and kept me going, And I always felt safe in my father's hands. And I always felt even nicer and more comfortable in my mother's hands. We all did as a family. I remember me and my sister, my brother, my two brothers, and myself, we always felt comforted around mom, always. And dad as the pillar of the family. And we always felt safe when he came home, all the time. Never once did I fear when my father was home. The other thing is, I know my mother had, was one thing I learned from my mother is being selfish. My mother, I never saw I can't remember one event where my mother was selfish. Not even one. I remember she would give all her money to the last coin. She gave me all the money as I grew up. If I ever needed anything, I remember she would empty out the wallet all the way to the bottom. All the cents were gone, just to make sure I had my lunch money, school bag, books, shoes, everything. She never saved one penny, and to me, it taught me a lot. And I hope I become a good example in the future for myself and my family and my siblings and to you as well. And I hope you've seen maybe some of that reflection from teaching from my mom and towards you as well as a church. I try to be as kind as I can, and if I failed any of you, I apologize. But yeah, my mom who taught me all those things. I'll share one real quick thing. One story. I remember my mother. Because of her teaching of selfishness, not being selfish, selflessness, she gave me. I think I was about 5 years old or 6 years old. She always came home from work, probably tired, I don't know. But for me, I was waiting for those biscuits because I knew she had sweets or biscuits in her pocket. You know, my mom and dad used to work at the same place, so when they came home, sometimes they would bring, you know, goodies. And I said to my mom, where's the goodies? You know, where's the biscuits? And she made me wait until she got into the house from the gate. This is back in, you know, Zambia. And we walked to the kitchen, and she opened her purse and she pulled out a packet of biscuits, and she quickly gave it to me and said, now go and share. So I took it seriously. I never doubted that. I always did that. It was a custom for us to share. And I knew my friends were waiting for us, who were from our neighborhood, who we played with, maybe 4 of them waiting at the door, anxiously waiting to see if Misanga was coming back out with some biscuits, like his mom always brings. You know, it's the same thing she continued to you as well. I'm sure some of you come to our house. Our house was always a place of gathering and food and comfort. So I went out there, a handful of biscuits, and I shared with all my friends. I gave them all, they were all smiling, they woofed it up as quickly as they didn't even take a minute, they didn't even breathe, they swallowed those biscuits. And I was so happy, I remember I was so happy. And I ran back inside to my mom and said, where's mine? And she looked at me like, you're crazy. I gave you all your biscuits to share. You should have taken some for yourself. And I remember I broke down crying, and I never forgot that lesson. When you share, sometimes you have to help yourself too. Now I think I don't know how I'm going with time. I might be taking too long. I might leave this spot for my sister, I think, to continue to share with you her experiences.
I wrote a few things down because I thought I'll forget everything. There's so many good memories I have with my mom and as a family. It's hard to think of one thing that I can say to summarize everything that my mom brought into the family and what she taught us all. One thing I've always thought, always in my life, is that my mum is the biggest blessing that God ever gave me. Everybody loves their parents, but I was really lucky when I saw other people that have probably other problems at home. Their parents probably, they're struggling or they haven't come to Christ and they're still growing as parents and they're trying to raise children. I was always so blessed that my mum, she was raised by good parents. She knew the values of God and she taught that and she lived it. And every day of my life, I got to see someone who knew the values that God wanted us to live with. So I had no doubt in my mind what the right thing to do in this world was. I had no doubt in my mind what wrong was, because my mum was strict. She's happy and she's kind, but she was strict. She knew what right and wrong was, and she lived it, and she expected us all to live and follow her example. My dad was strict too. It's really weird because when I grew older, I looked back and I thought, I thought my parents were never wrong. Because they always made sure they did the right thing. And that's all we saw in our eyes, is they did the right things. There was no such thing as stealing in the family, there's no hiding things, there's no selfishness, no greed. It was just the way that God taught my mum's parents to live. They taught her and her siblings, and then she passed it on to us. And we got to see it every day. So that was the biggest blessing, and I've always known that's the biggest blessing God has ever given me. Every day I wake up, and I'm sure my brothers all think the same thing. She was always in the same mood every day, a good mood. She never woke up in a bad mood, and I thought that was strange. So, how does someone wake up every day in a good mood? Positive, helpful, kind. These are the things that were just normal to me. And it's only when I grew older that I realized actually these are not just everyday things. Everybody doesn't always get to see this every day. I'm lucky that I get to see this every day. And I'm lucky that she's teaching me these things. And I hope I can take these and live the way that my mom would like me to live. I hope I can at least do that. Not only that, she was fun. When we were kids, she would be in the backyard playing games with us. Although we thought she was old at the time, she was probably my age. And I was playing in the backyard, we were playing tennis. But through all those things, she was always teaching lessons. We never knew it. She was always teaching lessons in everything she did. She was always laughing. It doesn't matter whether it's about a good thing or a bad thing. You know, life is up and down, there's struggles. You have joy and you have sadness. But no matter what the situation was, no matter what it was, she could always laugh at the end and smile about it. Even the things that are not, you might be struggling today, but you know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the line, we were laughing. All of us together laughing about something that before we were all unhappy about or something like that. That's what she taught, to always be grateful, to always be happy in all situations. And that God knows, no matter whether you're going through hard times and when you're going through the good times, God is in control and He knows. He knows what you need and He will always provide. She always knew that, and we knew that because she knew it. You just trust that your mum and your dad are right. She knew it, so I knew it. She was always kindly teaching and guiding. As a kid, you always think, oh, my mum is always so strict. Oh, my mum says, that's not good, don't do that. I tell you a story. I know my mum doesn't like motorbikes, and I've always known it. She's always said, those things are dangerous. Don't buy one of those. You shouldn't ride those, are dangerous. So what I did is, I wanted a motorbike. And I knew what she would say if she found out I had a motorbike. So I bought one, and I parked it in Numa's garage. And then I said to Numa, don't let Mum go in the garage. Because she always used to go to his house in Springvale. I said, don't let her go in the garage, Numa. And he goes, so what if she goes in the garage? What am I supposed to say? Just don't let her go in the garage. Numa, it's a garage. She doesn't have to go in there. Anyway, it lasted a while. She eventually one day was at Numa's house, so she went into the garage, and there's a motorbike sitting in there. She doesn't like motorbikes, so she's thinking, who bought a motorbike? So she asked Numa. And of course, Numa couldn't lie. We don't lie, so he tried as much as possible to not let her see it. But she saw it, and he told her, oh, it's Taxi Chewe's bike. Oh, she came home and she told me, so you have a motorbike? And I said, oh, Mom, it's nothing. I'm just going to get my license, then I'll start riding it. It's fine, it's no big deal. No, Chewe, those things are dangerous. Don't get a motorbike. I told you not to get a motorbike. It's dangerous. People die on those things. Oh, Mom, you always worry. Don't worry about it. She kept saying it week after week. Me resisting, thinking nothing, yeah, I'll get my license and I'll drive the bike. One day I wake up and go, oh, nah, these things are dangerous. You can get killed on one of these things. Not knowing that just, even though she said it kindly, she never told me off, she never got angry, she got in my head, just like that. Just being kind and repeating herself, patient that eventually I'll come to my senses. She got in my head. I was like, oh man, she got in my head. Next thing I knew, I sold the bike and it was gone. I never got a license. I still don't have a motorbike license. Now when I'm driving my car to work, I'm on the freeway and I see someone ride past with a motorbike. I'm like, why would you get on a motorbike and ride on the freeway? Those things are dangerous. People die on those things. I thought, oh wow. I wonder how many other things she's been planted in my head that I just don't know she's done, but that's how my mom worked. She was always nice, she was kind, even if you do the thing that she told you not to do. She was kind about it, and she was persistent to make sure that you were doing the right thing. And she always got in your head. She works in the background. You don't notice how much she's doing in the background, but she's always working hard in the background. And so most of you don't even know. She's probably implanted something in your head. You've never noticed, but one day you'll be driving down the freeway and you'll say something and you'll know that's something that my mom would say. So those are the things that I remember about my mom. And just laughing. So we even laughed about this motorbike situation. I bought a bike, never rode it, never got a license. I sold it. All because my mum thought it's dangerous to have a bike, and I didn't think so, but now I think the same way. I'm so blessed to have had a mum who knows God, who shared with everybody. I learned my right and wrong from her because she knew right and wrong, and she lived doing the right things and making sure that we knew the right things. I came to know God through my mum. And I'm saved in Christ through my mum. So she was the person that took us to church always. She's the person who, you get those little pamphlets from different Christian groups. She's the person who'd get a pen and write back and send it back hoping to get a DVD or some sort of Bible study. And I'm like, oh, Mum, why do you always reply to these things? She was always in the search for God. And in her search, she helped us to find God. We came to the Adventist church because of her. We did Bible studies because she answered a pamphlet. And she made sure the Bible studies were done at the house. She made sure we were all home when this happened. And I don't know if Beryl and Dick are here, but Beryl used to spend hours at our house doing Bible study. I don't know if any of you have had like a 5-hour or 6-hour Bible study. Beryl did not expect that, and that's what happened. She would come to our house and we'd have so much to talk about, and it should be 5 hours talking about God, and she'd have to go, it's so dark, I have to go home. My husband's waiting, but we'll continue. That's my mum. Somehow she creates that environment where you can share and be comfortable. There's so many people, like all the youth that we grew up with in this church that used to come to our house. And we'd be at the house talking about God for hours and hours. We'd have dinner, she'd make dinner. And then people would fall asleep on the couch. That's how comfortable people were and how comfortable she made people feel. They'd fall asleep on the couch, have a little nap. I think Spenny, you remember those days? Falling asleep on the couch and then waking up and going, oh, I'm asleep. But it was that comfortable living at home, and I'm so appreciative to have known somebody who was that kind, who can create such a homely environment for everybody to share and enjoy. She led by example, and I'm so blessed by God to have been shown by example through my mom.
For you up there, you all know that my name is Numa, so I'm the youngest in the family. And I think I just wanted to start by saying thank you, because my mom always taught us to always be grateful, always be thankful, and always tell people your appreciation. So I just want to say thank you for God for giving me a mom that was so loving and kind, and she did so much for us, she sacrificed for us. My aunties and uncles, gotta thank them too. They helped her become the woman that she was. I mean, it's your family. Before I existed, there was family there already. And so I just want to thank them, and for my grandparents, my mom's parents, for raising her that way, for planting it in her, the faith, and just kept watering it, and let God do the rest of the work. And most of all, I'd like to thank God, because without God, nothing is possible. We wouldn't be here and having these experiences if it wasn't for God to transform us and put this kindness in our hearts that we may pass it on to other people. And like my brother was saying, my mom is a person about appreciation. And so I have to say thank you to my father as well, because I'd say to all of us, my dad is is our hero. That was always the person that would be talking about to our friends, and we all want to be as strong as dad and talk like dad and walk like dad. And my mom would be like, you have to tell your dad that, you know, or when you're saying, oh, my dad is too tough on me or something, she'll be like, but do you want a different one? No. He's like, didn't you say that the other day he's the best one? I said, and they'll be like, oh, yeah. So she always said, you don't forget those things, you know. You don't let one moment change everything, because you have to think what is inside, you know, think deep inside. That's really the what matters. Growing up, I mean, the early years, I mean, my memory is very patchy in Zambia, but it starts to become in high definition the few weeks leading up to us leaving. And I only remember a few faces, and I remember a bit of my dad here, and my uncle there, and him picking us up in a car, and me thinking, I wish I could be sitting back there with the other older kids as well, and, you know, all those things, and my dad, you know, and my brother over there, and my sister. I think all these things, you know, coming to Australia, everything was new, and yeah, Mum was taking some mini adventures on the trams and things, and then you think you've got it all, you know, you don't know that, you know, maybe they're still trying to make it, they're still trying to find work, they're still trying to get the money together, but to you, it was just the simple things were the best things, you know, just going to Victoria Market, you know, those little things, and coming back with a tiny little toy, and, you know, you'd sleep next to it on your bed, you know. And then, so growing up, yeah, that closeness didn't fade away, you know. Some people think that, you know, as you grow older, you need to divide from your parents, you know, but naturally you'll move out, but it doesn't mean that you don't stay close. And so for me, personally, I never felt it fading. It kept getting stronger and stronger. You know, every day, I'll still text her, because I know what time she wakes up, when she's reading her Bible. I'll still text her, you awake now? And then I don't get anything back. She's either reading her Bible, or she's still asleep, or I'll text again later. Then she'll text me back, you know. And always, we used to be there sometimes at the house many times during the week, you know. Some would say, I'm at Mom's, I'll be there in 30 minutes, you know. We'll be there until the AMs. So we had so many good times, and I always appreciated those, you know, the walks to kindergarten. You know, I enjoyed them the most, those kind of things. And if you come to my house, you'll have noticed I've got these little jackets in my house. And those are all the little jackets I had when I was like 4 years old. Because to me, those were always the big things. And I thought if I put them in my house, then my dad or my mom, when they come over, they'll always remember those things and be like, oh, he really appreciates, you know. I don't know what they were doing, but I thought I have to always show that, you know, I appreciate it. I could put a poster there instead, but no, I put my own jacket there because they gave it to me. You know, and so, yeah, and when I started growing up, I finished high school, and I'd have all these friends, and they'd come from Zambia, and some of them would be like, you know, we just, sorry, we don't have anything to offer you, we're drinking cordial for dinner today. Like, really, cordial? You know, I'd be like, you know, can I buy you something? And they'll be like, no, it's all right. And that's a lot of stuff for a drive. And then I just drive them all the way back home to my mom's house. You know, because my mom always had that, she wanted us to be giving, to be loving to other people, you know, so she planted that in all of us, as you've heard from all my siblings. That's what it was always about to her. And then it didn't matter that my friends were there on the couch with me. It wasn't about looking, you know, good or cool. I wanted to be there with my mom, my parents, my dad, you know, the closeness was always there. If you like me, you like them too, you know, and then, so yeah, and they really appreciated it. And all of them either messaged me or called me and said, you know, Mommy's gone, or we'll miss all the food, remember all the days we were there, you know, she always fed us. And even some of you, you know, she would mention you and say, she gave me a bit of chikanda. You know, sometimes it's a lot, and sometimes she'll be like, it was only very small, but she gave me some. And I've put a tiny amount in the lunchbox. Anything can be shared, you know, anything, the smallest object, you can still cut it again. So even with friends, if I didn't invite them, she'd ask where they are. And I'd be like, they're at home. You know, I didn't know, do we have food for them? And then she'd be like, it doesn't matter, anything can be shared. We can cut everything smaller, you know, and you can always cook again. Just invite them, bring them here, and we'll feed them today. Yeah, so faith was an important part of my mom's life, and no matter how much she liked to see us laughing, and we'll be laughing and dancing, and sometimes as kids we'll even break the speakers because we were just enjoying it so much, you know. But at the times whatever TV shows you watched, that's a TV show she watched. And if you didn't even watch them, sometimes she'd say, why don't you put on your video, that TV show? And then she'd watch it. So she becomes almost like your best friend as well. So it just kept growing and growing and growing. But there would come times where she'd be like, oh, we've laughed a lot this week. You know, we watched all these programs, oh, you know, you like Will Smith, all this Cosby show. No, today, we're reading the Bible. And we'll be like, ah. But you see what she's doing to you, because to her that's important. And she's seeing that with you, you don't yet understand that. You have to set aside a time for that. She's already been doing it for a long time. But now she's teaching you, there's times to take a break. You have to remember who created you and what it's all about. That's what's going to transform you. And then she always say, you know, one day we're not always going to be here. You have to make sure you're strong, you can stand, you know. And then so as I've grown older, you know, I've become a bit like that. I run a program called the Free Food Corner, where we give free vegetables and we cook them food. And there's people in the room that have been helping, you know, especially those that are younger than me. And I remember years ago saying, oh, you know, as I get older, it feels like the friends are dropping off, you know. As soon as you don't want to party and do everything they're doing, they start to drop off. And my mom will say, it doesn't matter, you just be who you are, and they'll start to come. People won't be able to avoid that. So I would see people coming in the room and they'll say hello, and she'll be telling me, see those people, they're your friends. And then those same people that are coming in the room would come and tell me, I love you people, the way you interact. You know, your mom is there, we're all sitting there, we're all eating dinner together. You know, we want a bit of that. And, you know, Sharina back there, she used to say, you know, I want to be a bit like your mom one day. You know, I want to be just like that. You know, so I'll try to be strong for them and give them, you know, Bible quotes when they're struggling with something. And they used to always say, how do you be so strong like this? And I'll be like, you know, because of God, you know, my mom taught us well. But there's times when I also sometimes would be thinking about giving up, you know, and sometimes things not running right, too many people are arriving, the food is looking less, and I'll be really panicking. I'll be thinking, it's all my fault now, you know, I'll be the joke. And she'll always be there whispering, Uma, starting to complain, you know. And then, so the other day, we were talking at our friend Christine that sang here on the day before she passed away. We were talking, and every end of Saturday night, they always, as a family, bring up what are they grateful for. And that's something I admire about their family. So when we talk about what we're grateful for, what we've learned, I talked about all the things that went right and how I know God is there. You know, before these shortages happened, I ordered a lot more food for the church here. So during the shortages, we were able to give out things, you know. And I remember my mom was right in front of everybody. When it came to her, she says, and I want to say something else. Last week, you know, things weren't going well. People texted him, they might not be able to make it today to help him out. And he panicked. Now everything was suffering. The food he was failing to make, the things that he cooks and puts on Facebook, suddenly he can't even cook rice in them. He starts grumbling, saying, Mom, I'm throwing this rice away. No, eat it. She said, put it aside or finish it. I'm throwing the potatoes. Put it aside or finish it. Stop grumbling. You know, you've prayed about it, that's it. You know, after that, we kept working together and things worked out. More people sat down and stayed longer eating dinner that day. And my mom, in front of everybody, had to let them know, you have to make sure that when you believe, you never stop believing and stop grumbling about things, because you must trust him. You know, and Sango was joking around saying, right there, you know, you had all your team, all the younger people always say, no, you're so strong and so this. And right there, Mom showed you that, you know, when you thought you were the best person in the room, she held the food like a basketball and showed you that, no, she's Michael Jordan. She's been doing this longer than you. You can never stop learning. You can never have too much faith. And so in that moment, I felt I was at the peak of my faith, peak of my strength. Things don't discourage me, and then right there, everything went wrong. And she was still standing, and we were able to do it. And that's why you see those pictures. She's holding vegetables. That's her, you know. She sees a bag of peanuts. It's got rejected on it. She's thinking, we serve this. You can eat this, you know. Everything to her, you know, she sees it differently. And so even though these bad things happen like this, you know, you have to be strong in these things. And that's what she was planting in us. We're not going to crumble because she passed away. That's the reason why we look forward to what's to come. You know, this life is just chapter 1, you know, and it's a short chapter, but there's still chapter 2. And the good news about that chapter, it's free and it lasts forever. You know, there's no tears in that chapter. And so everybody that's sad here today, you have to also be happy inside because you know that one day we will see each other again, but you have to stay on the right path. So since my mom has passed, I was thinking about other things I'm grateful for, like things I'll miss. I miss her smile, I miss her encouragement, I miss her faith, her positivity, her gratefulness, her forgiveness. She always wanted to make sure you forgive. No matter what, she was happy. And I just like to finish on a Bible verse because as she's laying here asleep, she can't speak for herself. But I just wanted you to remember this verse. This is what I feel about my mom. It says, I have fought the good fights. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. She did all of those things. Amen.
Amen.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chifuntwe. I'm the niece of Mr. Chifuntwe and Mr. Chifuntwe. And in the past 2 years, I've been living with Auntie Happy and Uncle Kalonga. So I'm very grateful for them bringing me in after I moved from Canberra to Melbourne. We have lost a wonderful aunt, one who never really got the chance to grow old. She had a smile made of sunshine, and her heart was made of solid gold. She was beautiful inside and out. My first memory of Auntie Happy being when I was 5, when she visited Zambia. I thought she was the most beautiful, tall person. But I also felt at the same time there was something special about her. She was one of a kind. And after I moved to Australia, I visited Melbourne every second school holiday. And that made me realize just how special she was. Auntie Happy was not only did not only have a giving hand. She was caring, but she was also cool and fun. She liked watching shows like Dancing with the Stars and The Voice Australia, and she would always look forward to it every single year, and we would sit down together and watch it every night. She also loved listening to modern music. Her favorite songs were Made for Now by Janet Jackson and Chandelier by Sia. I would always laugh at her because most people in her generation do not listen to such music. Or if they do, they hide it. She was a woman of faith. She taught us to share the little that we have and to love others. She encouraged us to read our Bibles and pray every day. I will miss her so dearly for her generosity. And how passionately she spoke about God's grace. also thankful to her for opening her arms and bringing me in and giving me a chance. And giving me a chance to have a third mom after I had my second mom, Auntie Janet, in Canberra, after losing mine at 11 years old. So that's the end of what I had to say, and I also have a letter that was sent to us from the Kasama family or her siblings. It says, "Happy Chifuntwe, our sister, cousin, aunt, mother, and grandmother. Indeed gone too soon for us. Indeed gone too soon for us, whom you said goodbye to in 1990. We will never say welcome to Zambia. Happy, always happy to us all. Always loving and caring. Distance was bridged by welcome occasional video calls, a happy voice and happy laughter at the end of the line down under, reassuring us all we are still a happy family. Alas, abruptly, that Sunday, a gap was open in the family link. Only God can understand that gap for us all. Happy, always generous and benevolent to all. No need, no plea went unanswered. No barrier stood in the way of help. Changing sorrow and grief into relief and happiness for many of us back here. Yes, you gave with a happy cheer, without a grumble or a growl, because for you it was a blessing to share. Typical happy. Happy, you made us all happy to have you in our lives. Those are the memories we will forever cherish. That is your legacy to us. A happy girl. Yes, you've departed from the earth, from us on this earth. Yet I know that beyond the dark prison we call death, you have joined company of the loved ones gone before you. Dad, Mom, Baldwin, Mervis, and Joyce in heavenly reunion. May the Lord bless and welcome you into the happy reunion. To the husband, Kalonga, and family, the pain of the loss is deep and beyond measure. You gave a happy life, a reason to live forever for. With you by her side. Yet when her time was up, she was taken. She could only leave you leave you the happy memories of her birthday party. What a farewell. Treasure, cherish, and celebrate only those happy memories, and praise God for the time you lived together. What more is there to say? Happy. You will always be sadly missed and eternally loved by us all. Farewell, my sister. May God be with you forever and ever. Amen. Joe and family, Zambia, Ndola. Thank you.
And we want to make a difference as well. So we have been working in the hospitality team for over a year now, and I don't know how I will cope, because every time she comes, she will just say, "Hi, Virginia. Where are you, Virginia?" It was a weird feeling, because when I went to the kitchen last night, I just couldn't stop. I know we have this great future. All the dead in Christ will rise again. We will see her again. But even then, we are human. We are human to miss someone that we have been with for such a long time. And one thing that Happy introduced to me is your culture. The African culture is something that has attracted me. I've never known any of your culture before, but since I met Happy, welcoming in her house, open to everyone. You can't get out of her house without a cup of tea. Or one thing, you just rest there, in 30 minutes, she would invite you for dinner is on. So everyone who goes to her house was welcomed. That is, for me, a representation of your culture as well. The Zambian culture is beautiful. What I have witnessed during the past nights, past days, you have supported one another, and that's what we should be, especially in times like this. She was never unhappy about things. The only bad words you can hear from her is, "It's so bad, Virginia." That's all she can say. I'm more expressive, and I can say things sometimes that are, but never happy. That's all she can say. And I'll just go forward. Last Saturday, we had a celebration of her birthday. Norma told me, "What can I get?" Just get a simple birthday cake. I said, "No, I can't get a simple birthday cake for your mom." So it was Sabbath. I'm sorry guys, but I went to the shop and get this birthday cake for Happy. And I know it's Sabbath, we don't do buying or anything on the Sabbath day, but who cares? I said, I'd have to get this cake. So we had that on Saturday night, and the following day, she was ready to go. She talked about her children. She loved her family. She is your model as a Zambian person. She is a representation of that culture. Beautiful inside, welcoming. I'm repeating some of the words that you were saying, but for me, she is my model friend. I have learned to really appreciate more of your culture because of her. She taught me how to cook sima, or those kind of thing, tilapia, and all the wonderful food that I have learned to really like. She taught me how to cook those stuff. I will be really missing Happy. I don't know how I will cope without her there, but with this situation that we are facing right now, it will give me a transition not to be in the hospitality. But for now, I thank you all. I thank everyone who are present here. I know there should be more people, but because of our restrictions right now, we still have enough numerous people to attend Happy. And thank you for allowing me to say a short word for Happy. I cannot say it in just a few words of all the decade that we have been together. She never was confronting, she was never a confronting person, and yet she never compromised. She never do anything against her will. She always does what she thinks is right. Isn't that really good? That we have to follow this kind of stuff. And I know that we will see her again. We will all see each other again. It's just so quick because, I don't know, she came out of her cancer, she came out of her heart problem, and the only one she was saying before is about her arm, about the pain that she had in the left arm, and I can relate to her because I had the same condition, but you know, she had something that was done to her, and I don't know, she just passed away, and that was quick, and that was nice, that's beautiful. She was carried off by 3 ambulances and a fire brigade. A fire brigade came, but within that short period of time she was gone. And yes, my friend, thank you for today. We will all go and see Happy to the graveside, whoever who could come. But I could not express my appreciation to your culture and to the church and to her sisters and friends who come here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Virginia.
I will say we are humbled by your gesture. When I first heard about this tragedy, I felt like a brick falling on me. I didn't know how I would stand. I didn't know how we are going to carry it. I just had no answers. And when I started coming here, I was coming, but I didn't know where I was going. I was just coming. I have found people with very, very, very good hearts. I have found my fellow Zambians. I have found Happy's good friends. I have found very good church. We really appreciate your help. I personally bow down before each and every one for your help. Please accept our appreciation. I hope the same gesture can be extended to all. My mom sends many, many thanks to everyone. She told me, please thank everyone for me. She wished she was here. As you know, in our culture, a lot of people at home would have come to make it light. My mom didn't know what it would be. She tried to imagine. She started crying. I told my young brother, don't tell her everything. We told her about the death a little bit later. She only knew that there was a heart attack. She collapsed. From there on, she was told gradually as time went. I'll turn around and also thank the Zambian High Commissioner for taking his precious time from Canberra official duties to come and be with us. I thank you very much. please pass that message to even the authorities that gave you this leave to come and be with us. It's from your family. Really appreciate it. Our sister, the mother of my niece, has been described as a very good person, cheerful. I always found our door open. Every time I came here, we would be talking. Maybe go to sleep around 1 or 2 o'clock. I think many people have been there, realize that once you enter that door, it was very difficult to come out. Once you pass that door, you keep on, and she constantly cooked for people. Well, the doors are still open. She never closed the door to anybody. The door will still be open. I live in Canberra, and I implore you, please continue visiting the Chifuntwe family here as much as you have been. Let not be distracted by her departure, because we are all passengers on this earth. We are on a bus. We sit beside each other talking. Bam! Your friend says, oh, I am there. Goodbye. And we proceed on. Who knows how far we'll go? Because as we go, we don't know our exit. We just know that we're on the bus. Anyway, there's no better words I can use to express our pain. We will smile, but deep in our soul, mind, and heart, the pain is indescribable. I will say life is a journey. Life is but a stopping place, a pause in what is to be, a resting place along the road to a sweet eternity. We all have different journeys, different paths along the way. We all were meant to learn something, but were never meant to stay. Life is a tide. The tide recedes, but leaves behind bright seashells on the sand. All these things we are talking about are just seashells left by the tide. The sun goes down, but the gentle warmth still lingers on the land. The music stops, and yet it echoes on in sweet refrain. For every joy that passes, something beautiful remains. Therefore, to live in the hearts of those we love is to live forever. May the Almighty God receive our soul and let her rest in peace. Amen. Before I go, I would like to sing just a little bit of a song. For those who know it, can help me. It's in November. I just wanted to sing in my heart. Weufa wabipa abantu bwingi baya kukalunga kumatanda kumbo. Weufa walibipa ulikalekanya pakusenda mayo wesufwe balanda. Abanandi bonse nefibusa byandi aba bonse niwe wabatwala kumbo. think I'll leave it here.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Chandra. At this time, if you could all please stand and we'll have a prayer. Thankful, Father, that we have crossed paths with Happy, each one of us, and we're thankful for the impact and what she has left upon our hearts. Dear Father, as Chanda says, the family and others may look okay on the outside, but Father, there is deep pain. And Father, just pray you'll just come close and wrap your loving arms around each of the family, Father, at this time. Just guide them and help them and be with them through their grief and sorrow. Dear Father, we're just so thankful that we know this is not the end, but just an interlude, Father, until you return, when Jesus returns in those clouds in the heavens, and then the dead in Christ will rise, and Happy will rise as well to meet you. And I pray that each one of us will be there and ready to greet her as well. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. We remain standing as the coffin is taken out of the building. If I'm sorry to be a bit of a broken record, but even as we're leaving out, if we could just maintain that, that social distancing of about 1.5 metres between people. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are leaving for Lilydale Memorial Park Cemetery straight away. If you're coming with us, please move to your cars, keep your headlights on, and we will keep you behind us. Thank you.
Thank you on behalf of the family. Thank you for coming out here today for the service and then now for the committal and burial of Happy. The family appreciates your presence very much. Thank you for coming here. Let's bow our heads in prayer. Dear Father, as we come here for the final farewell, for the committal of Happy to the soil, Father, we just want to commit her not into the ground, but into your care at this time. We invite your Spirit to be with us, your Spirit to be with each of the family members during this sacred time. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. In the early Christian church, they believed Christ was coming back straight away. And they got quite upset when some of their relatives were dying, and they thought, oh no, they're going to miss out Christ's coming. And so the Apostle Paul wrote those letters of comfort, and he said, "Now, dear brothers and sisters, we want you to know what will happen to the believers who sleep in death, so you do not grieve like people who have no hope. For we believe that Jesus died and rose again, so we believe that God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep in him. According to the Lord's word, we tell you that we who are still alive, who are left until the coming of the Lord, will not precede those who have fallen asleep. For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a shout of command, the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet call of God. First, the believers who have died will rise from their graves. Then, together with them, we who are still alive and remain on earth will be caught up in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. Then we will be with the Lord forever. So encourage each other with these words." These were words of encouragement that Happy held close to her. It was something that put the focus of her life, the hope of eternity, of life with Jesus in heaven forever. Of course, Happy was always so practical and straight to the point. And I'm going to miss that happy laugh and wise advice, her quiet helpfulness. When Happy was around, things just seemed to get done. You know, in heaven, this picture in Revelation is given. Revelation 22 and verse 1 to 5. In heaven, the angel showed me a river with the water of life, clear as crystal, flowing from the throne of God and the Lamb. It flowed down the center of the main street. On either side of the river grew a tree of life, bearing 12 crops of fruit, with fresh crop each month. The leaves were used for the medicine to heal the nation. No longer will there be curses of anything, for the throne of God and the Lamb will be there, and his servants will worship him, and they will see his face, and his name will be written on their foreheads. And there will be no night there, no lamps or sun, for the Lord God will shine on them, and they will reign forever and ever. You know, I could imagine just asking Happy, where will we look you up in heaven? Where will we meet you? And I can imagine her saying, well, beside the mango section of the tree of life. And then she'd look at you, and you know, she had that straight way of looking in your eye, and she'd say, where else? Where else? Revelation 21 and verse 1 to 4. Now I see a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth are passed away. Also there is no more sea. Then I saw John saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they will be his people. God himself will be with them and be their God. And God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, no more sorrow, no more crying. There will be no more pain, for the former things are passed away. We're all going to miss Happy, but may God's message of hope that guided Happy's faith comfort you in this time of parting. Forasmuch as it has pleased the Lord in his love and wisdom to permit our beloved Happy Chifuntwe to fall asleep, we therefore tenderly commit her body to the ground, dirt to dirt, ashes to ashes, and dust to dust, in a sure and certain hope of a glorious resurrection to eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord at his coming. Dear Lord, we thank you that we here have hope. We thank you for the blessing, the gift, the joy that Happy has given to each one of us of her life. And we ask that you will now help each one of us to live our lives in such a way that we too may be ready to see and be with her in eternity for Christ's sake. Amen. There was a little miscommunication, and so we are going to need to move over to the roadway, all of us, and there will be some singing by our Zambian folk. While we wait for the machinery to come, they will clear away the apparatus and leave the dirt here for the dirt ceremony, the Zambian dirt ceremony afterwards. So if you could please now, you want to do the, all right, sorry. Thank you. Let's do the, if someone would like to do the flowers, would you like to come forward at this stage? If anybody would like to come forward and place a flower in the grave. Would anybody like to place a flower in the grave? Yes, we can do that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the end of our funeral program, I would like to call the following people to lay their flowers. Ladies and gentlemen, can we move to the other side of the road so that we can have space for the truck to bring the soil, please?
Do you want to bring it up? She's been there. Did you bring the shovels? Oh, okay. Can we get them now?
Chalo